Hi, I'm Ed Kaine with Conversation in Progress, and what we're talking about now is how we can get the ideas of a lot of different people involved. What are the truths from different groups? What are the interpretations of the way the world is from different people? This comes from some interpretation of integral theory, which again Michael Brooks shared on at some point, but also with multiculturalism versus the melting pot idea. So what we're talking about is what are the right perspectives, right? So you have these different ideas. We all come with the cultural baggage of what we grew up with, right? So right now we're in a moment where it has become acceptable, quote unquote acceptable, for people to film themselves in the middle of a racist rant, right? So, and then put that out on YouTube because they think, oh, this is how strongly I feel about this thing, right? So they most recently, just in the last week, I had seen this video where a woman is berating these guys who are putting trees into this place on the street, and she's saying, "You speak English" and all this stuff. It's like, that Puerto Rico happens to be an American territory, and most of the people there speak Spanish, and there are lots of American citizens who speak primarily Spanish. That's the way it is. That's a multicultural perspective. And what's the benefit of understanding that language has something to bring to this culture, to the culture? The culture is everything. So now, if we think about this melting pot idea, this is an idea I think somewhat of integration, right? So you'll melt into America, and that's going to happen. I mean, people do that. Like sometimes people are like young immigrant children aren't as interested in learning a language of their parents. Now, that's pretty unfortunate because those people should know that they can get the better job with, instantly they're able to do something where someone else can communicate with them. Why do businesses want to communicate with people? Because businesses are in business, right? So they're in business to sell things, and you're wondering why do you speak Spanish here? Because my customers are Spanish. I want to be able to communicate with them because I want to sell things to them, or I want to be able to serve them. So it's just obvious why you would want to learn that. But in terms of multiculturalism, it's also useful to attempt to generate an understanding of a different culture through their language. I passively speak French and Spanish in addition to English. I grew up in Canada, and the opportunity was to learn French, and I actually went and lived in the province of Quebec twice. I lived there as an exchange student in grade 11, and I lived there in university. Actually worked on an interesting research farm. I was a science grad, and I was doing poultry research, of all things. But I was making a strong effort to only speak French while I was there because I was trying to get involved in that. And so I, as in those situations, as the immigrant, as the immersed person, right? I was just in there trying to figure it out. But the language was important, right? So if you are to speak some French, tu peux parler un peu de français, you're going to your brain switches into a different gear, right? When you're talking in another language. Yo puedo hablar un poco de español también. I can speak a little bit of Spanish also. And what I'm talking about when I'm speaking with people in Spanish and in French, maybe all the vocabulary is not there. So we have kind of limited conversations about certain things. But I'm there and trying to understand and trying to get that word. And if I don't get that word, I might try to circle around and understand that. And because of that effort, we're getting together and we're sharing ideas across cultures. And the perspectives that you get from the other language often have a different way of helping you understand a topic, right? So I don't have a really good example of this right now, but I would say that the ideas that are coming from, so say white European descendant people right now are having a hard time because they are trying to hold on to this thing that will not exist as soon as they try to hold on to it. The 50s was the 50s. These ideas, where they really break down is, if you see this other video, check out those ideas of moral politics from George Lakoff again, where we're talking about the strict parent. I said strict parent, but he really says strict father versus nurturant parent models. Those ideas, if you are able to divide those people out into there, it doesn't matter what your culture is. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't matter that you come from this culture or that culture. If you have a more strict father view and you support that more strict father view versus you support that nurturant parent view, you'll find those things hold together a little bit better than what kind of dancing my culture does, right? What kind of music we listen to. All that stuff is not as important ultimately as this, in my opinion. Right, so that's my opinion as of right now. It's a conversation in progress, so we are open to the idea that there's something else, right? We're open, and looking for that other answer, right? Also sharing our views, because that's what we believe right now. So you believe with conviction the thing that you believe now, and you share it with a kind of a understanding in the truth of it, right? But knowing that you could obviously change, you could grow. Typically, you're going to grow. If you have this mindset, it does not mean you're going to grow into more racist, right? Not likely, because it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve the world to be more racist. It doesn't serve the world to be more corporatist. It might serve you if you somehow find yourself on the top of that echelon and you're making a lot of money, and then you're like, oh, wow, I got to get all the money, right? So all these worldviews don't necessarily fit that way, but it tends to be that people get more and more egalitarian and understanding when you're doing pretty well that you could share this a little bit. If you were to, wherever you pedal on this model, right? So we've got that model, we've got the political alignment graph, wherever you are thinking about that. But if you're thinking about the parenting model, or if you're thinking about my political alignment graph, you're thinking about that scope from more economic freedom, or the ideal economic freedom for the population, right? Or more corporate power with less regulation versus more government or collective control the means of production and distribution, right? So my idea on the economic freedom and then the social freedom, more anarchy, more authoritarianism, right? Not ideal. I don't really want anarchy, and I don't really want authoritarianism. I want people to be able to think what they think, do what they do, and have the freedom in between. So I tend to be kind of what I would call a centrist, and someone might call a radical leftist, right? Like, oh, you're so radical. You want companies not to be able to pollute into rivers? I mean, come on. So once in a while I'll be a little bit facetious like that, but yes, I want companies not to be able to pollute into rivers. But I recognize that if they treat, so this water, could have a big tailings pond and try to control it never leaking into the world. Is that realistic? Is that really going to happen? Probably not, right? Like if you had but tailings ponds have been pretty successful in a lot of places. It's just you have to decide. You have to kind of balance out. So if you have an industrial system, how can you do that best so that you get the benefits of the mining or the whatever process that system is using that needs water, right? You'd rather them use that than to plug it into right back into the drinking water for the town that's down the stream. So regulation about that, right? That's where we get into this. So we got a little distracted there, but the essential idea is we're historicizing, not mythologizing, right? We're going to these ideas. We're finding the way to that path, right? So all these ideas have a potential, but whether it's that European white domination or Confucianism, right? Or some reason that that Chinese society should be the dominant society. All of these have ideas that can be brought together and then synthesized into something. But if you keep your eyes on this main idea, we are looking for more universal human dignity, more universal human rights, and deciding what those are, right? So we're up for that, for understanding a little bit better as we go. So there you go. So I think it's a kind of multicultural idea. It's that a lot of ideas come from different sources. So, but what do you think, right? So what do you bring to this? What is the perspective that you think will be the one that wins out in the end? All right. Thanks a lot. This is Ed Kaine for Conversation in Progress. Please like and subscribe, share this with your friends. This would be great. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.